So Resident Evil VIII got announced. One of the better reveals from the PS5 event was a look at Resident Evil Village, a title reveal so good it makes me wonder if they came up with the entire game concept based off of this one trick of 8 fitting into the word village. Guessing we'll now never see Resident Evil VINNIE, a story about a guy down the pub just trying to watch the match while the apocalypse happens outside. A wasted opportunity perhaps, but either way, a full sequel to Resident Evil VII is great news. A game so scary even my PS4 can help screaming the whole time I played it. It's got spooks, it's got corridors to nervously edge down like in PT, and it's got gooey lads to teabag after they've leapt out at you and you've panic-fired your entire ammo supply at them. So let's look at 5 lessons I hope the devs take from the success of 7 and apply to the next one. 1. Rummaging through spooky houses is bloody terrifying. The most appealing thing about 8 being titled Village is the prospect of not just 1 or 2, but numerous spooky houses to rummage through. I don't know what it says about my character, but I just love rifling through drawers and shit for supplies and little snippets of storytelling. Resi 7 is at its best for me when it's basically an extremely spooky Gone Home tribute. Why not double down on this and instead of creating extra modes revolving around combat, create a post-game chill-out that involves just picking through the houses, tidying up a bit. Free of dangers, and Chris Redfield has used his swole muscles to fix the lights for you. Add a timer so people can speedrun rummaging through tax receipts and bookshelves looking for little nuggets of story content. It'll be lovely. Seriously though, the combing for supplies and uncovering bits of plot additions as you go is really well done in 7, and adds to the constant fear that there's going to be something awful lurking behind you when you turn around from fiddling about in drawers. 2. Don't abandon your meticulously designed main location for somewhere more generic. The Baker House in 7 is so bloody good it's like a character in itself. Capcom did an amazing job creating a tightly contained, intricate location. The routes and loops you take are genius reuses of a finite space, teaching you the layouts as you gradually unlock more sections through routes that were always on the fringe of being discoverable. The opening segment of approaching the house, watching a video left behind and finding a hidden lever in the fireplace is a really clever touch. The house doesn't feel like a series of video game levels, it feels like a believable location, at least in this demented version of reality. You progress through each member of the family's little domain, with each section being themed around them, like the mother's disgusting fly-ridden old house or Lucas's Saw tribute. Then we chuck all that out the window and go to that most original and inspiring of game locations, a metal tanker. For what it's worth, I don't think this is a terrible section of the game or anything, and it does pull a clever trick with regards to getting more use out of it by making you play through it in 2 different time periods so that you can utilise your knowledge of the layout when you return to the present. It's just that the ship is vastly more generic and forgettable than the house itself. It almost feels like they were just worried about setting the entire game in one location, but like, that's fine, it's a really good location. I'll be disappointed if 2/3 of 8 are set in a meticulously designed village and then you bugger off to fix lifts in a branch of Primark. Actually, that would be amazing, ignore me. 3. Sound design is a huge part of the terror. You can play Resi 7 in VR, and I applaud the total nutcases who did this because playing with headphones was horrific enough, and changing your underwear with a headset strapped to your eyes must be canny difficult. The lessons learned from PT are super evident with the sound design. The house is an old, rattling wreck of a place that creaks in every direction, making you never quite sure of where those noises are coming from. So often it sounds like there's someone or something walking nearby, only for it to turn out to be a tree hitting a window 2 rooms over, or often just an indistinct sound off in the distance. Your mind fills in the blanks and it's brilliant. When there's an extended period of near silence, the tension that something is about to happen almost had me not wanting to look at the screen for fear of what was about to go down. More of this in Village, please. I say this because as 7 reaches its conclusion, and things turn a bit more traditional in Resident Evil and less foreboding, that unsettling quiet fades away a bit, which is a shame. Having said that, it's always going to be hard to maintain a feeling of helpless anxiety when you're carrying around a machine gun and hundreds of rounds. Capcom, if you take my earlier advice of making a calming post-game palate cleanser, maybe instead of spooky floorboard creaking and suspicious banging, you could add in like the sound of cats gently meowing for food from another room, or knitting needles clicking together while Mia calmly knits your jumper. Just a thought, guys. Just call me if you need more advice, okay? 4. Don't go full Umbrella nonsense with the story. Part of what makes 7 so great is a gradual uncovering of the experiments that led up to the unfortunate circumstances, in the reveals that the psychopathic family are as much victims of the ordeal as anyone else. It's got enough grounding in traditional Resident Evil topics without becoming full camp, and this should be the aim for 8. It'll be hard to emulate in the same way as the scale increases, but after the DLC gives you a Fear 2 HUD and turns Lucas fully into a cross between Jigsaw and the Joker, I'd hate to see any sense of dread replaced with just cheese. Speaking of scale, 5. Don't make it a 40-hour campaign. The condensed brevity of the story in 7 keeps it tight and impactful. Don't fall into the trap of thinking more game equals better game. I'm the smug git that says this about everything, and indeed made a whole video whinging about Persona 5 being too long before buying Persona 4 the instant it was available on Steam. But it is true, I beat Resi 7 in just under 10 hours, and even though I'm not as in love with the tanker section as I am everything else, it still doesn't outstay its welcome. There's just not enough time for even the most frustrating elements to tar the experience, and the locations are just the right size that you can remember where points of interest and things you need to come back to actually are. Just like your mother said to me last night, it's the perfect length. Anyway, I'm sure we've got loads to look forward to with 8. Maybe there'll even be a flashback sequence showing how Chris gets so bloody hench. And if you haven't played 7 and this video hasn't totally spoiled it for you, I fully recommend a playthrough. Thanks for watching.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.